I gotta be careful to work my way through this because it sounds ultra nerdy, and I can make it ultra nerdy, but there's a bigger picture story here that's pretty interesting, even if you're not a nerdy football fan. I think it's setting up as a microscope into the life and business of the Dallas Cowboys, of which have now been valued at more than $10 billion, just so you know. There's a contract stalemate with your Dallas Cowboys, and this contract stalemate says everything about that franchise right now, today, and it says everything about that franchise in the immediate future. Everything about the near future for your Dallas Cowboys is at stake. And I don't like to be ridiculously dramatic, but there's a lot you can read into this that's pretty fascinating. I mean, if nothing else, man, this is a classic case of having leverage in a negotiation. But this particular contract stalemate, I don't think it's a stalemate, but the owner is pretending as if it's a stalemate. And it's about a player you're going to care nothing about, but you're going to learn everything about the Dallas Cowboys and where they're going right now. I mean, it's right now. It's in your face. And it is, even though the old man that owns the team, who loves to negotiate publicly, he loves to do everything publicly, but he loves to have the upper hand, that old man is in a bad spot. And he knows it because he can add. Now, first off, I'm going to say this. It's not a great way to start the topic, but you don't care about an offensive guard. I don't think 99% of people that watch a football game have any idea if the offensive guard is any good. You watch the ball. And what I mean by that is it makes perfect sense. You should want to watch the ball. Fans want to watch the ball. So when you don't watch what happens at the line of scrimmage, it's pretty hard to figure out. It just looks like a pile of people, right? I mean, the simple math tells you if you just shove that pile forward, you must be doing pretty well. So you're spending your time watching the ball, so there would be no reason for you to know that much about a guy by the name of Zach Martin. But let me tell you this. He's been to 8 Pro Bowls. He has been named All-Pro 6 times, I think 6 or 7 times. He is the best at what he does in the NFL. He's already the 3rd highest paid player at what he does, offensive guard, in the NFL. And I'm not kidding around when I say this. He's probably going to go into the Hall of Fame. He joins Nate Newton. You know the name. Again, you've never watched linemen do what linemen do. It is by the way, it's the most nuanced position outside of quarterback in football. There is more teaching in more intricate parts of offensive line play than anything other than football. It really is. It takes the best teachers of football to work with offensive linemen. It's that intricate. But Zach Martin is one of the 2 best at his position, guard, since Nate Newton ever to play for the Dallas Cowboys. The old man knows that. The owner knows that. So let me take it even further. In football terms, just so you can appreciate what kind of negotiating is going on here. And again, I'm going to make an argument that this is bigger than just an offensive guard. There's a lot going on here that tells you about the immediate state of the Cowboys. But in football terms, if you were to sit in an office and you invited in Dak Prescott, you invited in Ezekiel Elliott, and you invited in Tony Pollard. Oh, and you invited in whoever's calling the plays, the head coach, and the backup quarterback too. If you invited them all into a room and they were sitting in front of you and you asked them, very straightforward question, what happens, hey, all of you guys, what happens if we play this year without Zach Martin? And so your quarterbacks, your offensive coach, and I promise you your running backs are all going to say the same thing. They're going to say, owner, my life would be miserable. Then the quarterback, you say, okay, I hear you. On running backs, I understand. Quarterback, who I pay all the money to, what happens if we play without him? And that person's going to say, my life sucks. There you go. Deal done. They can't play without him. Guards are, here's a nerdy statement, but I'll do it. Offensive guards are to the run game what left tackles are to the pass game. Now, at some point, you probably heard how important left tackles are, right? To your pass game. I mean, that is protecting the quarterback's blind side. Guards are the lifeblood of your running game. So I think he's the 8th highest paid at his position. He's making, you're going to think, well, whatever, man. I'm sick of hearing all these dollar amounts. It doesn't matter to me. I know, but I want you to now start thinking about negotiating positions. I believe Zach Martin is the highest, or 6th highest paid or 8th highest paid at his position. He has 2 years left on a deal, which you're going to say, well, that's just too bad, old Zach. You need to show up and go to work. And Jerry Jones is trying to say that. And you might want to take that position. Again, every day that he's not there, there's a little knock on your door, and it's the quarterback and the running back saying, you do know our life is going to be miserable. You do know our offense is ruined without him. Thanks for talking to me, old man. So, he has a contract. He technically should show up to work. Technically, he's going to get fined for not showing up to work. He has the old man, Jerry Jones, by whatever is left of his testicles. I'm sorry. That had to happen, but I don't want that analogy. It's something I never want any human being to ever have to think about. But there is no better analogy than he has the old man by whatever's left of his stones. Jerry, being Jerry, said today, this is classic Jerry. He doesn't really have a card to play, and I'm going to make an argument for you how important this is to the entire franchise. He said today or yesterday, we're just going to have to move on without him. No, you're not. No, you won't. That screaming sound is your quarterback. The other screaming sound is the running back, the head coach, and anyone who plays offense is screaming. We can't go on without him. But Jerry tried to play that card, and I think he's doing so. And I'm going to make an argument for Jerry, and then I'm going to make an argument why Jerry is... You don't want me to do the testicle thing again, do you? All right. What else can we come up with? I don't know. It just seems to fit. Jerry, again, says we're just going to move on without him. And I'm telling you, no, you're not. Okay, you're not. You're not moving anywhere. But this is bigger than that. So... why does Zach Martin do this now? Which I think is a pretty interesting part of, 1, negotiating, and 2, the pro football business, and then 3, life going up against Jerry Jones. So why would he do this? He's under contract for 2 more years. You're supposed to show up to work or else. True. That is just true. Technically, he's supposed to be at work. And yes, you can fine him. And I think Jerry Jones probably will. He's already made the comment, it's getting expensive for this guy. No, it's not, old man. It's getting expensive for you. Okay? First time you see your quarterback on his back, you figure out how expensive it is. But why does he do this now? First answer, number 1, he can. Have a nice day, everyone. He can. You rarely in your life have leverage. This dude has leverage. You see all those people I just mentioned that they get paid a lot of money and they kind of need to be upright and not injured? They're all going to sit in a room and say, we got to have this guy back or we're dead. Old man, we're going nowhere fast. You thought I threw a lot of interceptions last year? Wait till everyone's in my face because he's not here. He can. He can. There's never been a better time for anyone in Dallas, which I think is going to be the next argument I'm going to make. If you're a superstar that is desperately needed on that roster, there's never been a better time than to draw the line. There's never been a better time for the best offensive lineman, one of the best offensive linemen ever to play for the franchise. At a time when everybody in offense has a contract coming up, they need him badly. Badly. Desperately. So He needs to get the money now. And here's the other part to this that I'm keep trying to bring up when I say this is a really, really good Dallas team. In my opinion, with Zach Martin, in my opinion, it's the best roster top to bottom Dallas has had since the mid-'90s. If you're a Cowboys fan or a face painter, this is it. And I'm going to tell you why this is it. And the window slammed shut. The very reason why Zach Martin is doing this now is the reason other players are going to line up and say, I need to get paid now, because they're about to run out of money. And I don't mean that literally running out of money. I mean salary cap running out of money. They can only pay so many stars so much money. And this guy and his agent said, we better get in there now because a year from now, they may not be able to pay you. And you can walk. So you play your best card, and his best card is right now. So he has to get the money using his leverage now. And they don't just need him, they have to have him. The old man he's a lot of things. He's goofy and he is ridiculously optimistic, but he's not clueless. And he knows exactly what I just said is true. This is it. That man's window is shutting in more ways than one, and he knows exactly what I've just said. It's hard in that business to keep together really good units. The business is set up to be built up and destroyed. I mean, that's the beauty of the NFL. I mean, it really is. It desires to make everybody 8-8. Well, 9-8 now. So you just can't hold these really good rosters together that long. And so this is it. And the old man knows this is probably it. You have no idea how good your roster is going to be next year, but you do know right now, and it's really, really good. The best you've had. And he's one of the 5, if not one of the 3 most important people on their entire roster right now. Right now. Ask anybody on that franchise, and I guarantee you he's mentioned as one of the top 3. Guarantee you. So now's the time. Because someone else is going to be knocking on the door pretty soon, too, and they're going to say, I need to get paid, old man. So this guy's going to get the front of the line and try to get his money. And it's a no-win situation for the old man. That's the other part. If you want to watch this play out, this is one of the few times that Jerry has no out. He can't say, you mess with me, I'll run you out of here. No, he can't. He can't. I mean, this guy's got him. He's got him. So it's really stressful for the old man. I think he's going to start to show up. I think he's going to ramble more than usual, which is pretty hard to do. He's going to be nonsensical the rest of the training camp until he gets this guy in, because the pressure is enormous. So he has to pay him. And when he does, he knows that's one less deal for everyone else. Because that's the way this is looking. This is the way it sets up for any team. You sort of got, anybody remember Deal a Meal with Richard Simmons? Remember he had a certain number, I don't know why I'm thinking of that, but he had a certain number of cards, right? It was either brilliant in its simplicity or it was just idiotic. I don't know. And it was Richard Simmons. And so you had these cards, and so you would take one card, which is the vegetables, blah, 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 whatever, and then that was it. Ran out of a card, you're out of cards. No more of that. That's kind of what Jerry has with his players right now. He only has a certain amount he can keep around starting next year, and someone really good is going to walk, and someone famous is going to walk. And so this guy is saying, you want to let me walk now? You're crazy. So he can't. Here's why his leverage is ridiculous. Okay? Think about this. Dallas wants to run the ball more than they did a year ago. Not just because Dak Prescott throws the ball to the team often, but as good as their defense is, which is one of the 3 best in the NFL. Got it? As good as their defense is, it makes sense to minimize mistakes and let your defense win you some games. And I think it's a good formula for them. So Mike McCarthy, mumbling Mike, he can call a bunch of run plays. So if you're Zach Martin, you're thinking, I know exactly what this team is going to do. They're going to have to run the ball more. And what did I tell you? Who's most important? Him. You want to run the ball? You're not running anywhere without him. It's that simple. He is the most valuable player in the run game. Dallas's formula is to run. Guess why he has even more leverage? His agent could say, well, Jerry, you don't want to pay him? Okay. Why don't you throw the ball a whole bunch again and see how that works out for you, old man? So they know exactly why they need him, because he's the most important person in that building to the run game. And so Jerry's stressed. Jerry's going to ramble. He's thinking, one less deal he can do with everyone else. So he's got to pick, and I think he's going to have to pick this guy. They want to keep him around. He's going to have to pick this guy. Remember, they have a lot coming up in the near future. Tony Pollard, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. Let's see. Micah Parsons, you think he's not going to get paid? I mean, you've got these building blocks of the entire franchise are going to be up for new contracts, and one of them was Zach Martin. So they've already agreed to pay Trayvon Diggs. They've agreed to pay a safety. They're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb. They're going to have to pay Micah Parsons. They're going to have to pay Dak Prescott. So they're going to run out of paychecks because the salary cap's going to eat them up. You can't keep that many stars. So Zach Martin is saying, man, I got to get in there now. And so that's why Jerry knows he can add. His son can add. Anyone paying attention to the Cowboys can add it up and say, well, someone's going to end up going next year or two. Someone's going to be gone. And Zach Martin is saying, I'll call your bluff. I'll call your bluff now. Reminds you of a famous line, North Dallas 40. I thought it was a bad movie, great book. North Dallas 40 is a book written by a guy named Pete Gent, who lived in Wimberley, by the way. Pete Gent played for the Cowboys, and the book was titled North Dallas 40. The movie, most people know the movie. The movie was kind of cheesy. It was Nick Nolte, Mac Davis, but it had these cameos of these really famous football players, and it was just about life in the NFL and how crazy it was and how cold-hearted it was. And there was this scene in the locker room. I believe it was John Matuzak. John Matuzak played for the Raiders. John Matuzak was crazy. Probably died at a young age like everyone else in that time period. But he was pretty good in the movie. And so he's 6'8", 320 or something like that. And so there's this great line in the movie. He says, yelling at one of the coaches, they're arguing about something. And he says, every time I call it a game, got to throw in some F-bombs, but every time I call it a game, you call it a business. When I call it a business, you call it a game. That's exactly what this is. It's a business. This is one of those times where I think both sides are saying this is just business. And Jerry's on the losing end of this one. He's on the losing end of this one, and he knows it. And they've got time. They can wait it out a little bit. But next time you hear him barking at whatever 500 talk shows that he does or 9 news conferences a day that he does, next time you hear him say, we're going to move on without him, laugh out loud.